Are you playing MLS Next and you're not getting any interest? Are you playing ECNL for the girls' side and not getting any interest or not getting the interest you would like? I'm the College Soccer Guy and I help you play college soccer. Let's get into why that might be. So, my first thing, not knowing anything about you, if I'm your doctor and I'm going to give you a diagnosis, I bet you're using NCSA or some other recruiting platform. That's okay. I'm not against them. I'm not even challenging them. I am not competing with them. I am completely different service. They claim that their platforms will connect you to college coaches. That's not what I do. I'm an educator. I'm going to teach you how to do the recruiting process to get you the best chance of you having the most eyeballs on you. And so far, we have very good results. So if you have an NCSA profile, it is not College Soccer Guy or NCSA. It's NCSA is not working. Maybe College Soccer Guy can help me figure out how to make it work. So NCSA and other platforms are great for information, right? You're going to get a random email here, a random email there. Look, if it wasn't for NCSA, maybe you never got started with the process. I used NCSA growing up. But the first diagnosis I would look at is, are you sending emails through those platforms? And if the answer is yes, then there's your first issue. College coaches do not like receiving emails from any of those platforms because they know they're automated, just like you don't like receiving emails from their automated emails. And so they are less likely to look at them. Now, there's still exceptions. If you're an MLS Next player and you have a good subject line with your NCSA profile, is it helpful? Potentially. But I can tell you right now, it will not be nearly as impactful if you sent the email from your own account. So that's my number one concern. Number two, if you're using any of those sites, odds are you've attached multiple videos. College coaches don't want multiple videos when you email them the first time or the second time. They want one video. They want your every touch video. They want your full game video. They do not want to look through a library of videos. That's not how they operate. They're too busy. Send them the video that you want them to see. It's called the one-click bias. If you look at my own bio, there's one button, call me, because I do not provide anything else because that's how I can help you the most. Similarly, if you say to them, here's 30 videos, they're going to get deer in the headlights and they're going to look at maybe none of them. Send them the video you want them to see. Now, after that, they're very likely to then click on a video that they want, but do not send them a whole profile or a whole website worth of videos. They don't want it. Even though it's awesome that you're trying to do that, it's just the system they don't like that. It's not built for that. So that's my first two issues. Number third issue is the way you're writing your email. If your email is more than, I'd say, 2 to 4 paragraphs, and within each paragraph is more than 5 sentences, and your subject line isn't appropriate, and your templated part, which is the part that's like about you, isn't right, then you're probably also messing up. So then I would look at your email, and what I do with my students is we do like a before College Soccer Guy email template, which is your version, and then afterwards, which is my version, which is how you fix it. So most of the time when I work with an MLS Next student or ECNL student, I look at their information and I go, look, if this is the way you've been emailing coaches, this is really bad. Like college coaches, it's way too much information. It's information that is not valid to them. In fact, some of this information makes you look bad, and now they don't want to recruit you, even though that's not, you're not putting your best foot forward. So I have to look at the email and go, this is what you need to fix. You need to shorten this part up. If it's very long, they just don't want to read it. They need to be able to skim it. So also it's important how you space it out. Then the next thing I'm going to look at is your video. If your video does not have a self-interview or coach's interview, you've just basically shot yourself in the foot like 3 times over, because every time you send your video out and somebody doesn't look at it, the college coaches aren't going to traditionally go back and look at it. If they didn't look at it the first time, they're not going to want to go back and look at it the second time. Now, your job still is to follow up, so we'll get into how to do that. But the first time they watch your video, they really need to like it, because if they don't like it the first time, you can't say, here, I've updated it, and there's a few new clips in there. They're like, I saw what I saw. I don't want to see anymore. I don't like you. And that's the end of your story. So the first time they see your video is everything. So you need a self-interview. On next to your self-interview, you need some information, all of which would be in your template. So when we talk about writing your email, you've got Dear Coach, which is the intro. You've got the genuine part, something about them. Then you have the template. The template is the part that never changes. It's always the things about you. It's always the facts, none of your opinions. Not, I'm really fast and I think I'd make a good addition to your team. None of that, just the facts. And of course, you want your facts to be impressive. ECNL, MLS Next, etc., which they are if you're playing at those levels. Then I need to see your video. And often, I would say 99% of my students, the order of your videos and the zoomed outness of your videos are just horrendous. So every time I have a call with anybody, I give them a score on their video. I'd say A is the best, F is the worst. Where do I put it? And I've never given anybody above a C plus so far. because the order of the videos just clearly aren't done by a professional. It doesn't have to be me. You could choose somebody else, but you need somebody who's not a professional editor. Okay, editors are just good at clipping the clips together in a way that you can do with any editing system. I'm talking about you need these clips here because you're this position. This is what the college coaches want to see from you. In fact, you're on the shorter side. So because of that, you really need these clips first. Or you're a taller side, you need these clips first. That's how nuanced we get. So that way when they watch your video, they like what they see. Then at the end of the video, you need to have your references. A couple coaches that they could call, hopefully the coach that's in your coach's interview. If you're like, what's a coach's interview? Basically in your video, we're going to overlay your coach's voice talking about what you're like as a person as well as a player. And this has just worked wonders for my students. Some coaches are not willing to do the video. It has to do with a lot of reasons. Some of them think, oh, in the recruiting process, you don't need to do that, which they would be correct as long as they're willing to call every single coach for you over and over and over again, which if they tell you they're willing to, I can almost guarantee 99% will not do what is required to get you the help you need, which is why this got started. College coaches, or club coaches rather, are super helpful. They want to help you through the recruiting process. They're just busy. They have a lot to do. So if you don't pick up the slack on your end, they can't then, help you with the alley-oop. You need to basically give them the alley-oop for them to slam dunk it for you. And the coach interview allows you to do that without needing them every single day. You can have them and be done with them, and you can go send their face over the world. If they're not willing to do the video, it's actually a really helpful thing, because then when they say to you, I'm not willing to do the video for you, you can say to them, okay, well, in that case, can you call this coach for me? And the coach will go, sure, no problem. He calls them, doesn't pick up. You go, did you hear from that coach? He goes, no, I'm sorry, I didn't hear from him. Well, do you mind following up, please? And the coach goes, well, I'm busy. I go, well, then please do my self-interview, because otherwise, my coach's interview, because otherwise, I need you to keep calling. Now, you have to phrase it a lot nicer than that, of course. But that is, where my level of frustration is when college coaches say, or club coaches say, oh, we won't do your coach interview, because they're just naive about, their ability to help you. Now, some of them don't want to because maybe they don't think you are a player they want to be associated with, and they're too nervous to tell you because you're part of a club team where you're paying money, which is also a huge problem in the club process because money does rule all. I am a self person. I even have clubs reach out to me saying, Zev, could you please stop talking about how one league is better than another? And I go, look, I'm not the one picking. I just pick whatever the college coaches pick. I'm reading their emails. They're telling me where they're going. I'm telling my kids where they're going. So my self-interest is for you, not for your club. Then the next diagnosis I would look into is, let's say you've gotten some interest, but not as much as you want, is I'd be like, let me see what you're saying to the coaches. How are you phrasing your emails? What are you saying back to them? What have you sent next? You haven't heard from them for a while. Let me see your every touch video. Have you made it every touch video? And then throughout that process, I'm going to go, okay, you've reached out to these schools, but here's another 50 schools that really should be on your list, given your grades and your accolades and your expertise. And also, if you really want to get a hold of that school, one way to do that is to get a hold of this school first, because this coach knows that coach, etc. And that's my job. So that's the next thing I would do if you were, say, a student in ECNL or MLS Next Level working with me. As we go through the process, we will find that you yourself will notice that it's working because we're doing the work together. NCSA and those platforms don't work because the way they sell you is you won't have to do anything. Here we go. I'm telling you, this will not work unless you're ready to do a lot of work. We're going to do a lot of work together, and I'm going to tell you what to do and how to do it. But unless you are willing to do the work, it will not work. My system does not work, which is why actually, there are certain students I do not do this work with. It's only for the students that are most committed and really want to play college soccer and have the skill set, which is why when you call me, you'll submit at least 1 or 2 clips of video so I can get an idea of what kind of level you might be. Also, because of my own experience, everybody wrote me off. I tend to have you could call it a more optimistic view and go, look, like we have a student right now who I think is quite good. The college coaches have said to him, look, we don't think you're a Division 1 level player, maybe Division 3. And I'm like, this is a great Division 3 level player. Like, I know his style. I've seen him before. I've coached myself. This is a Division 3 player. So the coaches have different opinions than I do. That happens sometimes. We're not going to give up. This particular student has since gotten interest from schools, and that's really, really helpful. And it was because of my personal belief in them, despite them being told no. But we did, because of my belief in them, say, look, you're shorter, you're good technique, you're not athletic. We're going to be approaching these schools, not these schools. And that's also why they got more feedback, and that's part of my job. If you'd like more help in this process, give me a call. Links in the description, links in the bio. I'm here to help you guys play college soccer. So is my team, and I'll talk to you soon.